Hi guys, hoping you guys are around the place. All right, so I've got a couple of things here. Let me know if you are about in the chat box. I'm just at my co-working space, so you can see everything behind me. There might be some sounds and things, so I just thought, hey Leslie, yay. So we are about, that's exciting. I wanted to make sure that we've got a few people on the call. Oh, here we go. All right, everything's clicking in. Hi everyone. It's nice to see everybody, especially in basking in the energy of the supermoon last night. We didn't get to see it here in the Hunter Valley type of area because there was clouds everywhere. Hi Melinda, did anybody see it where they are? You can pop it in the chat box on the side there if you like. Yeah, we didn't get to see it because there was clouds everywhere, so I'm hoping to soak up some of its good juice today, but definitely felt the energy of it all. Now, me embracing my woo-woo on a webinar. This is an interesting space for me to be in. I do it all the time in my retreats, and I just thought, well, maybe it's time to come out of the woo-woo closet and not only embrace, you know, my business strategy and science side, but also connect it with the woo-woo side that I really love to play in as well. It creates this real holistic way of being in my business that creates a whole bunch of flow for me and a whole bunch of ease. Whereas before it was all about push and strive and drive. Now, if I go with the natural flow of things, at the same time as having some systems and structure in place, it creates a flexibility that I hadn't had before. So yeah, oh, you saw it in a bribey. Oh, how beautiful, Leslie. That must have been extraordinary. I saw some pictures on the internet of it over New York and Beijing and other places like that, but somewhere like Bribey Island would be amazing. And Melinda, you didn't get to see it on the Central Coast either. Yeah, a bit cloudy up our way as well. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to try and share the screen and see what happens. All right. Share the screen. Share entire screen. We want this one. Oop. Application window. There we go. All right, people. Let's get into it, shall we? All right. So I will be flicking back and forth to check if you've got any questions, but essentially I just wanted to share with you some of my insights about creating from flow and how to use business strategy that I've been taught in the old school kind of sense and the real masculine way that I have used business in the past versus creating with a sense of nature and a sense of energy and a sense of the feminine, and mixing the two together creates a lot more ease without the burnout and the adrenal fatigue that I've experienced in the past. So yeah, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat box. I'll do some little flicks back and forth to make sure that I'm answering all your questions. But essentially, let's begin. So when it comes to planning, I do a planning session every year with my team, and we all get on board and we talk about where we are all going personally and where we are going as a business. Because there's no point having someone on board that has has a completely different trajectory to you, and you not being aware of it is only going to create friction and kind of issues moving forward. So what I wanted to do just to begin with is give you a little bit of a creative visualization. One of the best, most useful tools that I found when it comes to mindset is creative visualization. And as any of you would know, having a meditative practice, having an opportunity to see things in your mind's eye makes things a lot more real for your neural pathways. You know, if your brain, which has its RAS and its reticular activating system, and it recognizes patterns in things, if it has somewhere to look for, then it's much more likely that it's going to try and match up the environment to match that thing it's looking for. So we've got to create like a GPS. We have to create where we are going. So I want you to sit back and I want you to close your eyes if you can for a moment. And I want you to kind of get in a time machine with me. And I want you to imagine right now that it is the 14th of November, 2017. So we've traveled forwards 12 months. And I want you to have a sense of what you're grateful for over the past 12 months. Now, for some of you, this might be a little bit difficult, but just go with it. So I want you to get a sense of what you're grateful for over the past 12 months. I want you to get a sense of where you were 12 months ago, listening to that weird and wacky webinar by Tammy, and with those other amazing people that were on there, and what's happened for them as well. It's been an extraordinary journey for 12 months. And where you thought you would be is totally different to where you are now. And you're in absolute gratitude for what your clinic looks like. So in your mind's eye, I want you to think about what your clinic or your practice or where you're practicing, what it actually looks like and how it's different to what it was 12 months ago. There might be new furniture, new signage. There might be different people coming in and out of the door. There might be different people working there. You might not be in a clinic and you might be actually exploring what it looks like to educate online or educate through books. How are you sharing what you know? And how grateful for that platform are you? Because you get to share all that amazing knowledge that's in your mind. What are the mentors and the people around you that you've had the past 12 months? Who are they? And anything that pops to mind, just have a listen and have a focus on that. Remember it for after, because we're going to write these down. So who are the mentors that you've hung out with? Who are the people that you've hung out with? Who are the friends that you've had, and maybe new friends that might have come and joined you along the way? Where have you traveled over the past 12 months? What types of things have you experienced that you didn't imagine that you could the 12 months prior? Where are the places that you've gone? Who are the people you've seen? What are the conferences or retreats that you've been to? And what have you put out and created in the world over the past 12 months? Is it an e-course? Is it a retreat? Is it a book? Or are you featured in a magazine? Have you created a YouTube channel? Are you creating videos? Are you creating an amazing home to live in with your family? Are you creating an amazing environment for your clients to come into? What are you creating in the world? And outside of work, maybe you're creating music or art or doing something different with your body. So what are you creating with your body? What have you created over the past 12 months that you just are so proud of? And from a finances perspective, the difference between your bank account back in 2016 to what it is here in 2017, and how grateful you are for the shifts and changes you made in your business. If you can see a figure, a number in your bank account, keep that in mind, because we'll listen and focus on that a little bit later. And outside of the finances, what have you been able to do with that money? What have you been able to help, contribute, focus your attention on, invest in? Are you investing in your education? Are you investing in your business? Are you investing in your marketing? Are you investing in mentors? Are you investing in time out for yourself? Are you investing in your health so that you can turn up to be the best version of yourself possible in your business and for your clients and for your family? Where's that money being reinvested? And where's your time being invested over the past 12 months? And now I want you to focus on how amazing that feeling is, the predominant feeling you've had over the past 12 months, now that it's 2017. What's the feeling? If you could give it one word for the feeling that you've had and how different it is to 2016, what's that feeling that you had? Now I want you to focus on being really grateful for your part in it, because you are in charge of your life and you have the opportunity to create exactly what you just thought about. And you have the opportunity to be that for yourself and for others. Do that for yourself and for others, and feel that for yourself and for others. And now I want you to kind of take a big breath in. Definitely take a big breath in. And I want you to relax into that feeling and that emotion and focus back in on where you're at, listening to the webinar. And come back, and if you've got a pen, paper, or maybe on your phone you might have your notes section, I want you to just take 30 seconds to write down anything that came to mind when it came to your mentors, something that might have stood out when it came to the experiences you want to have. Which countries did you end up seeing yourself go into? What was that number, that magical figure of your finances in your bank account, your turnover? And how did you contribute? What did you do outside of work? What are you super grateful for that you're about to create, because you already had it in your mind's eye? So your nervous system is ready and willing and able to try and find a match for that as well. So what I want you to do, and we're back. What I want you to do is next, those wonderful yummy feelings. Can you tell me about those yummy feelings? Anybody? What have we got? Nobody's there. Okay, cool. So any yummy feelings? When I did this last year, I got the yummy feelings of flow. I got an amazing sense of flow, and what's happened this year is that everything that I have done this year has been around flow. So it's been around creating flow when it comes to what I do with my body. So I do 5 rhythms dance, and I do poi and some other things. Flow when it comes to flying a helicopter. So I'm learning to fly a helicopter and getting my pilot's license, and that's flow as well. Flow when it comes to where I'm at in my business, and ease and grace. And flow when it comes to the conversations that I have with my family, my husband, things like that. And then I create flow when it comes to my team as well. We find the easiest way to bring about people's strengths and talents to create flow and harmony within our workplace. Hey, Leslie, free and energy. I like it. A lot of, the 2 years ago, I had abundance and energy because I was just coming out of a fairly heavy adrenal fatigue kind of pattern. And it was extraordinary, again, to just focus on those things and be grateful for them and see what happens in those 12 months. All right, so as you can see, tammyguest.com/Natupreneur-plan. So the Natupreneur plan is a one-page strategic document that if you get the opportunity to download, that would be a great idea. So tammyguest.com/Natupreneur-plan. It's a Word document, and you can write in it all that you have coming to your mind right now. It's a Word document, so it's able to be edited. And it's an awesome one to give you a massive overview and then chunk it down into manageable parts. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I get completely overwhelmed when it comes to planning. I love helping people and I love doing that kind of stuff. But when it comes to planning, I really need to see it in a really overview kind of way, and then be able to see the small pieces and how they fit. So back over here. What we've got is and you don't have to sign up for it or anything. You literally just download it. Let me know if you have any problems with that. So it's tammyguest.com/Natupreneur-plan. Now, this strategic plan gives us an idea about areas with which we need to focus on, and all 5 of the questions that come to mind. So number 1 question is your why. Why do you exist? Why does your business exist, and why would anybody want to be part of that? So my why is to create freedom and flow in body and business. You can see it as a mission, or you can see it as a purpose, but it's your why. So what I want you to think about is your why sometimes comes out of things that have happened in your life. So like I mentioned about the flow word, I love flow. It's one of my most extraordinary feelings and sensations that I can have in my body. And sometimes when we think about the things that we've done when we were kids, sometimes we get that sense of, like Leslie was saying, freedom. Maybe it's energy, maybe it's activating, maybe it's adventure, maybe it's safety, maybe it's security. But there'll be a word there that the times when you are the best version of yourself possible, and it's usually you're the best version of yourself possible in front of your clients as well, that things just start to happen. And that's your mission. Generally, there'll be a why. Your why also might come out of an experience you've had in the past. So I've met loads of practitioners, and I mentor a lot of practitioners. They've had an experience in the past that's created an opportunity for them to shift and change other perceptions of other people in their lives. Like they've had a health experience, and their why is to actually have nobody experience those symptoms or ever get into the situation that they themselves did with their health. So your mission will be different for each of you, but it's your driving force for the year. If you don't have an overarching mission, it's hard to find the things that you say yes to and you say no to. So my overarching mission when it comes to my 3 to 5 year kind of idea, which is down on the bottom part of the strategic plan, it gives you a 3 to 5 year project. My 5-year project is definitely circumnavigating the globe in a helicopter. So once I connected with that this year, everything flowed from that. I realized I couldn't hold on to my bricks and mortar clinic anymore. So I sold it because it's not in alignment with me circumnavigating the globe in a helicopter. So I have to have a lifestyle business, a business where I can be location independent. It's really easy to say yes or no to things when you've got that bigger vision, that bigger mission. So what is it for you? Well, you take about 30 seconds, and even if it's a couple of words that have come to mind, and Leslie, Melinda, or anybody else who wants to pop in the chat box, I really want this to be interactive, having a cuppa, having a chat, and giving you a couple of tools. So what is it when it comes to your mission? What is it for you? Is it eradicating chronic fatigue syndrome, taking chronic fatigue syndrome seriously? Is it, helping more babies get into the world that hadn't been born otherwise? What is it for you, and why are you in the business that you're in? So why do you exist? And why would I come to you as a naturopath or a herbalist or a nutritionist? Why would I come to you versus somebody else? All right, let me have a quick check. Have we got anybody in there? Leslie? Nope. All right. So next one is your vision. What did you see when it came to that? Where are you going? Your GPS. So first was your why. Why do you exist? And then there is the where. Where are you going? Where is it all going to end up? So your vision will usually have a way of explaining things that it paints a picture. And it's something that's engaging for others. And you can Google vision, mission statements, that kind of thing, and you'll notice heaps of different things. Nike and their mission statement of just do it. And then Apple and their vision statement has evolved over the years. But what's your vision? What does it look like for you in that 12 months time, maybe 5 years time, if you could think about it even further? Why does your business exist, and where is your business going? Are you going to be the #1 leader in chronic fatigue? Are you going to be the #1 leader in gut health and SIBO, as some of my mentorees are doing? So what is it for you? What is it for you? And have a focus on that. And then what underpins all of that? There is your why, which is out there, and there is your vision, which is where you're headed, where your steam train is headed. And then there's the core values, what drives it forward. Your core values you can check in with in a multitude of ways. The two personality tests that I love to do, and I get my mentorees to do, is the Strengths Finder, Clifton Gallup Strengths Finder test. It's about $15, it's online, and it'll give you your top 5 strengths. It'll give you 5 words and a whole bunch of other amazing stuff that you can use for your SEO if you're creating a website or you want to zhuzh up your website. And it gives you an idea about your particular strengths, your particular talents and gifts, and how they come out and how they could come out in your business. By embracing your strengths and your gifts and your talents, you're actually being authentically you and showing up as you, rather than grabbing the next person, me for instance, grabbing my ideas or grabbing somebody else's ideas and just following through with those. You're actually embracing all that is different and unique about you and bringing that to the fore, which can really line up so much for you, the clients that you end up coming into your field. So that's Gallup Clifton Strengths Finder. Or you can do the Talent Dynamics or Wealth Dynamics, which is another thing I'm trained in. It gives you a sense of your talents, your particular talents and your gifts, and how you can use them. And again, how those values can come out, so that every decision that you make as a business owner, as a staff member, or as somebody who has other investors in their business, as long as those decisions are made in alignment with those values, then you have the opportunity to be authentically you in your business. So my core values are around freedom, obviously. So being able to have my clients and my staff have the freedom to choose when they want to see me, have the freedom to be able to be in an environment that they want to be in, to have their interaction with me, and have the freedom of being able to, well, I run retreats and immersions, so that is freedom for me. So when I make a decision around, is this constrictive or is this full of freedom, then I'll go with the freedom element, because it's in alignment with our core values. Again, we've got flow, we've got nature. So another reason I'm running this is to connect you with the flow of nature when it comes to this structure. And we've also got science and structure. So everything has to be, you know, rooted in science, but it has to have that flow, freedom element, very much like a tree. And it's connected with business principles, strategic business principles as well. So what are yours? I'd love to see those and have a chat about those. But if these core elements, so that's why it says our core, and if you were to imagine it as a globe, as a world globe, and you have this core on the inside that's ever changing but never changing, you know, it's always the same, but it has this flow about it. The core of the earth is like that. And then further out from there, things start to move and shift on top of that, the mantle, and some of the preferences that you have might shift around that. And then on top of there, you've got the countries and things butting up against one another, which are a bit like the projects that you work on. So we've got the core, and if you go messing with the core, then you're going to mess with everything else. So it's really, really important to nail what it is in your core. So mission, vision, and core values. Then we've got the projects. Projects are a bit like having countries sitting on the outside. And you might have the project of your health. You might have the project of your finances. You might have the project of your family. You might have the project of your business. So for today, we're going to talk about business. My projects include, you know, helicopter and circumnavigation, but it also includes my business and the immersions and the retreats that I'm running next year, as well as the mentoring that I do. So some of my mentorees, some of their projects are getting a book published. We've got e-courses coming out. We've got retreats coming out. We've got memberships that are coming out for their clients. So they're creating memberships around weight loss and things like that. There's a whole bunch of different things that might be a project that you want over the next 12 months. And so when we did that little vision, what was it that you saw? What are the projects that you see in the next 12 months. Now, projects are generally something that will take about 3 months to do. It's a quarter. Bigger projects are things like a book, although pieces of the books will take 3 months. So you'll start with the core of the book, and then you'll start with the editing phase, and then you'll start with the publishing phase. So there's 3 chunks of 3 months generally for a book. Now, I know all these things because I've gone through all of them. I've set up YouTube channels, we've set up podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But what if you could choose the 4 main things that you want to focus on next year, 4 main things for 2017, what are those 4 projects? I know I'm like that. I have lots of visions. I get lots of amazing ideas along the way. But if you pick the 4 to start off with, and of course they can change, it's not set in stone, but it will give you some guidance so that you don't get sidetracked by the next bright, shiny object. It'll also give you guidance as to what you're going to consume, what you're going to buy from other people during the year, education tools and things like that, because I'm also an education junkie. And you'll realize the things that you can say no to, and they might be for the next year or the next quarter or whatever it happens to be. So again, the nice bright shiny object doesn't steer you away from what you're actually here to do. And then underneath projects is the 3 to 5 year projects. So these are the bigger projects. Now, up until this year, I didn't have a 5-year project at all. I essentially just wanted to run my clinic the way that I ran it. So it might not be a thing for you. Your 3 to 5 year project might be taking your family on a holiday or something similar. So whatever it is for you, whatever comes up, just pop it down in there. Now, on the other side, on the right-hand side of the Natupreneur plan, we now get into chunking down what some of these projects look like. Up the top there, we've got the moon cycles, and we'll have a chat about that in a minute. And then we've got goals and how we're going to process the things that we're doing, not from the why and the what, but into the how and when. So it changes the way that we're thinking about what we're doing. The bit that I want you to focus on right now is your big, hairy, audacious goal. Your BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. What is it for your business that is a stretch for you that you would go, oh, if I see that many clients in the year, that will be amazing. And I want you to actually calculate that. Or if I turn over this amount of money, it'll be a stretch for me, but it's not in the realm of, I'm going to do $1 million. It's actually something that you've thought about. So what's your big, hairy, audacious goal? Or maybe you want to be an award-winning clinic. Maybe by the end of the year, you want to have won an award. So what does that look like? And take a moment to write that down. The next little bit in the middle there is your USP, your unique selling proposition. What makes you unique to the naturopath sitting next to you? What makes you unique to the naturopath down the road? What makes you unique to anybody who's trying to find a naturopath who specializes in what you specialize in? And now we'll get to the chunking bit. All right, let's see if we've got any questions. Oh, okay, Leslie. Oh, excellent, Linda. All right. So we've got, assisting women through menopause. I like that, Melinda. It's so needed, amazing. Not really my planned area of expertise, but I seem to be attracting these clients. Yeah, that will generally happen. What will happen is we get these, we get a flow that starts to happen. And again, it's a bit like following breadcrumbs. You know, some of us don't see the Hansel and Gretel cottage at the end straight away. It's not like you come out of college and go, right, here's my thing. This is my passion, this is my purpose, and this is what I'm here to do. And you get the whole lolly cottage all at once. Most of us, there's little breadcrumbs along the way, all the way through the forest, and then all of a sudden something appears. So for you, it might just be that. It might be that this is the next breadcrumb, and wholeheartedly embrace that. I think it's a really important thing. And of course, Melinda, gut stuff does play into menopause as well. All sorts of shifts and changes happen hormonally for these women, and they all have IBS. Okay, let's not generalized brush stroke over the top of there, but you know, everybody could do with some gut stuff. So great opportunity to explore that, Melinda. And if that's your thing, pop that in that little box there, have a think about it, have a meditate on it, see what comes up for you, and see what happens when you put that intention out there and follow through with it. Now, if we were going to create a plan specifically around helping women with menopause, then over on the right-hand side of the download is your particular client, so your ideal person that you help. So if that for you might be a menopausal woman between the ages of X and Y and all that kind of stuff, then it could be extraordinary. So yeah, great, Melinda. All right, Leslie, I absolutely come alive and get into flow when I'm working around gut stuff and SIBO and irritable bowel diseases. But I don't know what my why is. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm sure there's heaps of other people who are on the call, Leslie, who feel the same way. And that's the cool thing about this document as well. You fill out the pieces, and it's like filling out a jigsaw puzzle. You fill out the pieces that you know about, and then all of a sudden there'll be this little key opening and you'll finally find the other piece to stick in there. So I invite you to fill out the other bits and pieces, and your why will start to kind of come to the fore. All right. Melinda, uni degree. Will I have time for anything else? Well, yeah, it depends. I'm going to do another webinar on organization, because every one of my beautiful mentees that come into the program, they need organizing. They're totally overwhelmed because they haven't mastered the art of investing time rather than spending time. So a uni degree, yes, so I've done multiple uni degrees, and it does take up a lot of time. And at the same time, if you value creating a business, then you'll value creating a chunk of time, whatever that chunk of time happens to be for you. For some people, it's 1 hour a week, to building the growth pattern for that. So interesting, Melinda. Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Just done, Psych K, and have had huge breakthroughs with belief and incentive to take my clinic to a larger audience. Awesome. And you recommend Psych K to everybody. Excellent. Any personal development I'm massively into, especially those that break through your mindset issues and overcome the brain kind of programs. All right, Michelle's, your focus is on Lyme and chronic disorders, jigsaw puzzle clients, excellent, as well as mentoring and supporting students in their new businesses. Awesome. Yeah, so it's an amazing opportunity for so many. Hi, Carolyn, it's all good. You can join whenever you like, and there'll be a recording. Yes, Michelle, there's an amazing opportunity for so many newbies coming out of college and out of study, and the wealth of knowledge available from what could be a grandparenting scheme. So there is this amazing wealth of experience that comes from having a business. Us oldies, yeah, sure. So it's really important because there is so much experience that comes from only having hands-on. Now, all you students out there, it's awesome when you're coming out because you actually have the freshest knowledge, the freshest theory. And the beauty of mixing the freshest theory with the experience of having been in front of so many clients and having been in front of the human condition rather than the sickness and the pathology. So the sickness and the pathology sitting in front of you is very different to the person sitting in front of you. And the way that those conversations are had and the way that we teach our clients or help our clients differs for each of us. And it's awesome for anybody who has all of the human experience to be able to share that with people who are just coming out, and vice versa. It's awesome to have, throughout my whole clinic time, I always had students coming in. There was only one semester where I didn't have a student in my clinic, and I absolutely thrive off learning all the new stuff that they have exposure to. We just can't keep on top of it as practitioners. So it's great to have somebody who's got a fresh mind and fresh sight as well. So excellent. I love these ideas that are coming out. All right, let's move on. Now, when it comes to planning for your business, there are two major things to consider. And as you can see on here, this is a very traditional sense of what your year would look like. So we've got the financial year, and we want to see the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter growth. My sense of that is that there is no room for flow. When we look at it that way, there is no room for flow, and unless you're meeting your KPIs, then we're going to be in all sorts of financial trouble, which I think is a load of rubbish. So as you can see on the document that the Natupreneur plan that I've set out for you, there is the first quarter. Now, the first quarter here in the Southern Hemisphere is the first quarter for a financial year is just after June 30th, and it goes into July to September. So that's your first quarter. So technically right now, we're at the end of the second quarter. But what's happening there is that we're not taking into account what's actually happening from a seasonal perspective and the energy of what that looks like. Seasons are different. So if we were to do seasonal quarters, then we'd be talking about summer and autumn, and then winter, and then spring. So right now we're heading into summer, obviously. We're in Australia, and we've got a summer season. If we think about the energy of that, summer is all about getting out there and parties and being around people and doing all that kind of stuff. It's all about, for us in Australia, it's all about Christmas and New Year's and spending time. And from a business perspective, it's all about getting out there and letting people know you exist and being visible. Then we've got autumn, and autumn, when it comes to a season and farming, is when you reap the rewards of what you've sown and what you've grown. So if we skip backwards to spring, so spring is all about sowing. It's all about laying the foundations, getting everything out there and setting it all up. And then summer is about pushing it out there, letting people know about it. Autumn is about reaping it, bringing it all back in. And then winter is all about planning for the next season, for the next cycle. So if we were to just take that on board, what would your summer season look like this year? Because you're just about to go into it. So we're going to go December, January, February. What would your summer season look like? What could you be getting out there and becoming visible with? What message that you got on that other side of your column could you be getting out there and be visible with? Maybe for you, it's your next project. Maybe for one of my mentorees, she's writing a book, and I'm so excited for her because she's found her flow. It's so cool. And so she's writing a book, and she's letting people know she's writing a book. She's not just going to appear at the end with a book and not have told people about the journey that it's taken to get to the book. So what is it for you? What are you creating at the moment? What message do you believe in at the moment? So for menopause, oh my goodness, summer is the most awful time to have hot flushes, isn't it? So if menopause is your person, then you could be writing a newsletter, you could be doing blogs, you could be doing Facebook posts around hot flushes and menopause and how to avoid that kind of thing. If it's IBS and SIBO, wow, there is no bigger time of the year than Christmas for sugar overload. Maybe Valentine's Day as well, but what could you be getting out there and making sure that people know and are in alignment with your message and your values that you've written on the other side that comes with the season? A lot of people have just come through spring, and we used to do our detox retreat and our detox online course that went with all of our clients through spring, because that was in alignment with what was happening then. And then from a business perspective, we would make sure that everybody knew about that, and then we would reap whatever we had sown from that, because it was a 12-week course. And then when it came into winter, we would check in again with how that went, what could have been done differently, and then moving forward into the next year, what could be done differently. So on that other side of your downloadable PDF, downloadable Word document, there is the seasons. And in that, there is the how. So what you're actually going to get done, the how of it. So for some people, it might be, for instance, writing a book or writing an e-course. You've got to break that down into how that's going to be done. You don't just go, oh, I'm going to write an e-course. You first have to do a little bit of research as to what your clients need. Then you need to pull all of that information together. Then you've got to put it in a logical format. And then you've got to find the platform to pop it on. And then you've got to let everybody know about it. So that comes in a season as well. So what is it for you? How could you break it down into the seasons? And for instance, there's going to be some really obvious things that happen in different seasons. So winter, for instance, here in Australia, is definitely a time when you are going to go to the tax man, and definitely a time when you're going to go and see an accountant or a bookkeeper, because it's the end of the financial year. So that has to be in there, especially if one of your goals is to have financial freedom or focus on money going up or being more profitable in the year. You do want to make sure that that's part of it. If that's part of your goals, you need to have a matching how on that right-hand side. So that's when it comes to the quarters. So a quarterly plan that I've had is around the first 2 quarters of next year. Let's just use the helicopter, for instance. The first 2 quarters of next year are weekly helicopter flights, so that I'll then get my pilot's license just before winter, before the temperature and the wind and the rain come in, and I can't actually go through with it over winter. When it comes to running retreats, I'm running 4 retreats, an immersion series next year. And our first one is in February, so I have to plan then earlier on in that quarter to make sure everybody knows about that immersion. And then after that, I have to plan for what comes next after that for those people that have joined us on that. I've always got a retreat in Bali in October, so I have to plan then for 3 months before and 6 months before what I'm going to do, and get ready to let people know about that and invite them to, and have the conversations to invite them to that retreat. So what is it for you, and what could be planned in advance, and working backwards from that? So that's the sun cycles or the seasons. When it comes to your month, that's the moon cycles, and it's 4 weeks. So we just had the super moon. Now the super moon was a full moon, which is the 3rd one on this slide. The full moon is around pulling things in. Now this happens when it comes to the tides. If we think about this just as a natural element type of thing, we're talking about it as a wave. And if we're talking about the tides are the highest at the full moon. They're being pulled up and pulled in. So you're pulling it all in and connecting and doing all those things when it comes to the tide. The same thing happens with our energy in our business. So when it comes to the concept of pulling it in or connecting, what you want to be doing at the full moon is connecting with yourself first, and connecting with what's important to you, so that we don't get all lost out of the way, on connecting with your clients and connecting with the people around you to create that network that you need to get all of your information out. When it comes to the waning part of the moon, it's about completion and looking back on what's happened over the past month, seeing what's happened, and then seeing what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then creating a plan moving forward for the next month. So what we do in my business is make sure that we have a weekly meeting. So we have a weekly meeting usually on a Monday, and that weekly meeting will allow us to connect with what we're doing that week. If it's in the new moon, we're having a plan for the month, which goes along with the plan for the quarter, which is the sun cycle. So if we're having a plan for the month, we'll also have a plan for that new moon week, and we're going to have a plan for what comes for the next 3 weeks. Once that plan gets put out, we then put it out to all the people in our team. VA might need to do that, graphic designer might need to do that, and all sorts of things that might need to be taken care of. And then there's the push. So everybody activates in that waxing first quarter. As the moon's starting to get bigger, we are pushing through. We're pushing with our content. We're making sure that it's going out through social media. We're making sure that people know about things that are happening. And we're pushing the envelope on things. It's that part where you go, okay, I usually give 90%, but this time I'm going to give that extra 10%. What can I do for that extra 10%? And when it's in only 1 week, then you don't feel as bad when you're coming into the next week, where you're all about connecting. where it's all about pulling things in. You don't feel driven all of the time, where you're going to get actually burnt out. So what is it about pushing things out for that week and then pulling it all back in? Because once you've pushed out, people start to recognize and see what's happening, and they want to get connected with you. And then the next week is about reconnecting with them all, reconnecting with your clients, reconnecting with the people who are listening to your voice on social media or on Facebook or whatever it happens to be, and connecting and hearing what they have to say, hearing what they want from you, hearing what you need to be able to give them. And then the last quarter of the moon is when it's waning, when it's closing down. So the completion of that is making sure that all of your loops get completed. An open loop is where we let out something and we don't complete it. We let out an email, or somebody sent us an email, and we don't complete the loop that comes with that. So this last quarter means that there won't be a whole month that goes by that things roll over into the next month, the next month, the next month. It might be completing it from a bill cycle perspective. You might need to be paying all of your suppliers. You might need to be paying things that are moving forward. So it might be that you are completing the loops in that week when it comes to completing bills, completing conversations that you might need to have with staff or clients, might be completing the loop with bookings, but all of that happens in that last quarter. It happens all of the time, but it really needs to focus in that last quarter, as well as looking back on all the things that you have done over the past month and having a celebration about it. Because most of the time we don't stop. We get to the end of the year like now, and we haven't had to stop and thought about what we actually got to achieve. So that's how it works with the moon cycles. So on top of your downloadable, it has the new moon and how you plan. So my suggestion is either putting down a day of the month or a person that you plan with, so that you can be held accountable, so there's an action there. So our planning sessions happen in the first week of the month, usually on the 2nd or 3rd. And that planning session happens with our project manager, and then the next day we send it out via our Google Keep system. Then your push section. So my push section at the moment has all the social media elements and which direction they're going out from. So I've connected them all up so that they can all get information going out in different places. And we're just shifting that around at the moment. So your push might be how you're getting that out to people, how you're sending out that information, how you're connecting with people, because that's the next bit. So your full moon is about pulling in. Maybe you want to write networking events that you're going to connect in. Maybe you might want to write the different types of people that you might need to help, who might need to help you with that. So I've got a PR agent as well, and she's in that zone. And then the last quarter is about that completion. And again, is that a meeting that you have to have? Is it a conversation you need to have? Or is it rechecking in on these goals and checking in and updating your strategic plan? So what is it for you? And that needs to be done every month to keep up with this cycle. So any questions? No questions. Awesome. All right. Next one I wanted to cover when it comes to our planning is consuming versus creating. Now, all my beautiful peeps that I help with their businesses are similar to me, because we generally attract people, the people that we need to learn the most of. And for me, they're people like me, people who absolutely love learning, absolutely love consuming information, learning new things, checking out the newest publications, checking out the newest information when it comes to business strategies and things like that. So consuming, it's great to be able to consume, and you have to plan that in to your year as well. Just like Melinda was saying about her uni degree, how can we go and do a money mindset course as well as a e-course and as well as another course if we're already doing university? It's the same with running your business. If running your business and creating a clinic or creating a situation that you absolutely love, that helps the people that you absolutely love to get the results you absolutely love, if you're in creation mode and you're going outwards, then, and you're spending all of your time in consumer mode, and you're sucking in all that new information, but you're not actually getting it out there, then there is a stop point in the loop. And it's really, really important, because we all love, love, love getting new information, but until we push it out and create it as something new and useful for somebody else, then it does stop the cycle. So when you're planning, I want you to also think about the things in those quarters that you're consuming. So for me, I will be attending a business retreat to consume information, to be in an environment of amazing, awesome entrepreneurs. And I need to be planning that in, because that's going to take up a little bit of time in my calendar next year to travel overseas to go and do that. It'll take out time from, it'll be planning around some of my other major projects for the year in my retreats. So you've got to put in the consuming as well as the things that you're creating, so that you can check that you do have enough time. Consuming and creating can come in different environments. So it can come in the environment that you're in. So do you want to create an environment that you love? Do you want to create that environment online? Do you want to create that environment through a conversation or a relationship? Or do you want to consume it? Do you want to consume being in an environment? Do you want to consume education or a new course? Or do you want to create education and a new course? Do you want to complete that cycle and that loop and not have it too unbalanced? And then when it comes to energy, same thing. We can give. We can create an opportunity with our clients. But if we're not filling up our cup, we know this stuff, but it's a whole different thing to actually stop and plan it and write it out and actually take action on it, rather than going, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll get around to that. Yeah, those supplements I tell everybody else to take, I'll get around to taking those myself. So what is it when it comes to those three areas? Because these three areas are what creates an entrepreneurial growth mindset. So what is it that you are consuming, and what can you create from that? Not just consume, but create. Having both sides of the coin for both of those. All right, so this is that model I was telling you about before. So there's your core, there's your why you exist in the first place, your vision for what that looks like, who you're going to help, how you're going to help them, all that kind of stuff. And then there's your core values, what you're extraordinary at. So I'm extraordinary at explaining really large concepts and difficult concepts in a really easy to understand way. I own that I can be inspiring and motivating. I also own that I am an activator, so I love starting stuff really quickly. I'm also a creator, so I like to create new things. And I'm also a connector. I believe that everything happens for a reason. I connect. So those things come from my strengths, they come from my talents. And if I focus in on those, life is easy. Because then the next layer is on the outside, my preferences of helping women entrepreneurs, naturopaths, nutritionists, and herbalists, then they kind of are connected with that and they gel with it. And then the projects on top of that, my immersions and my retreats and my podcast, they can go along okay. But things that were butting up against it before were things like my bricks and mortar. When I was taking on too many ideas at once, it was all of a sudden it was getting kind of nervous up the top there, and we were having earthquakes and things on the outside of what was happening. But when I came back into my core and really connected with that, the stuff on the outside started to balance out. So what is it for you? What's part of your core? And what are those little countries on the outside that you want to focus on next year? Health, well-being, family, your business. Do you want that to grow? Do you want it to stay the same? Do you want to focus on? And none of it's right or wrong. It's just what you choose to focus on this year. Cool. All right. Do we have any other questions here? Melinda, my biggest dilemma, having ideas and not acting on them. My to-do list is far too long. I bet you're not the only one. So to-do lists that are far too long, the reason that we have to-do lists that are far too long is usually from bright, shiny objectum. So bright, shiny objectum comes from saying yes to a whole bunch of things that aren't necessarily in alignment with our core truth. And if we take the time out, if you haven't done it already, go and download and print that off and actually take the time. It'll take you probably half an hour to an hour to actually fill out that downloadable. Once you've filled it out, there's messages that go from your brain to, you know, we teach this stuff. We're going to actually physically take action and connect what's actually happening in our head into reality. And once you've got an alignment, oh, okay, Michelle, the downloadable is at tammyguest.com, tammyguest.com/Natupreneur-plan. I'll just pop it back up on the screen for anyone who missed it before. Oh, there it is. tammyguest.com/Natupreneur-plan. So it's a strategic plan that it's a fill-outable. It's really, really easy. And it's like a puzzle. You know, you're sticking all the puzzle pieces in there, and eventually things start to emerge from it. And you go, oh yes, that fits in there. I can do that in this quarter of the year. I can do that in this quarter of the year, and that's the things I can do. So tammyguest.com/Natupreneur-plan. So what it is with that is that we take the time to actually do it. Oh, thanks, Leslie. There it is in the chat box. So take the time, fill it out, and once you've got those key elements, don't veer off the track. You've got 12 months to get those things done. If you veer off the track and you get 100 things half done, then it's not going to be useful, is it? If you get one thing done to its completion, you've actually created something that's valuable and useful in the world. Is it that course? Is it that webinar? Is it that e-course? Is it that book? Is it creating that system that makes it easier for people to come and see you so that you can actually create the change that you want to be here to do on the planet? So if you follow that through, that one thing, it's way better than having a to-do list of a whole bunch of things that aren't actually in alignment with you. And be truthful. Some of those things aren't in alignment with you. I've definitely had it before. I'm in a little bit of a flow state recently because I'm coming off the back end of 3 retreats. So I don't have too many things on my to-do list that aren't in alignment with that. Leslie, I've had a few big ideas that were just so overwhelming to me that I haven't even started. This has made me feel like I can do it now, chunking it down. I chunk other things down, but never thought about to do it with business ideas. Excellent, Leslie. Yes, absolutely. So we chunk other things down instantaneously in our lives. Okay, I want to run 5Ks, so I'll go and get the Couch to 5K app, and it chunks it down for me, and I just follow the process. Now you just have to spend half an hour to an hour filling out this downloadable, and you'll chunk down how to get the goals that you already have in that where am I going kind of mindset for the next 12 months and get them done. Awesome, Leslie. All right. So for anyone who wants to work a little deeper into what we've just done, I have the opportunity for you to join me and Denise Duffield-Thomas, my gorgeous friend, and a couple of other amazing mentors in the strengths coaching realm and in the guidance and energy realm, who are going to join me for an immersion that I've created specifically for Nats, Nuts, and Herbies. So if you want to stick around, I'm just going to share with you what that looks like. And I just want to invite all you guys to it, because I think, you know, it's fun to do this. And I know that on average, statistically, about 50% of you will actually download that and actually fill it out. And of those, about 20% will actually achieve what they've written down if they keep checking on it and keep going through with checking on it on a weekly basis. If you don't check on it on a weekly basis, about 8% of you are going to do it. And if you're not in an environment of people around you that are in alignment with this, and you're around other people who don't get it and who aren't in business and don't understand why you're spending so much time doing this